Lynn and Sandra, and we own Lynbreck Croft in the Scottish Highlands in the Cairngorms National Park, and we like to call it 150 acres of pure Scottishness. We've got heathery hill, we've got woodlands, a bit of grassland and a nice big bog as well. Our approach in Lynbreck really is to take the guide of nature to build our farm business. So our farm business is all based on diversity, so it's based on having a range of different animals that are suited to our farm and our climate. So we have Highland cattle, we have Jacob sheep, we have our rare breed Oxford sandy and black pigs, we have a whole collection of hens, and we have dark bees as well, which is a type of native bee to this area. Quite a bit of experimenting to know when to have the pigs on what part of the croft. So we know when we can have them in the woodlands and when we can't, because they'll do more damage than good. And the same with the grassland, but we're starting to see results. So they are like a tool, and as you can see, they're more than happy to do the work. Sort of, we've got a lot of moss in between the grass, which suppresses the grass growth, and that's really because it's been, there's not been any grazing on here for maybe 40 years, and in a conventional sense you could, plough it, reseed it, but we're taking the approach instead of using the animals to do all that for us. So it takes a lot longer, but we're still producing a produce at the end of the day, and it's a story that we can tell, that we're working about, using our animals to regenerate the land, and it's a much more nature friendly, carbon friendly, way of doing it. We don't have formal training in agriculture, we don't have a formal background in running a farm or building a farm business, and what we've seen actually is that we've managed to turn that into a real strength, because what it's meant is that we've used our sort of more kind of conservation backgrounds to really look at our business, to really look at our land holding and look at how we can work with nature to build our business. Even though there's an awful lot of challenges as new entrants, we feel that we're not, because we don't have that sort of formal training behind us, it does mean that we have to think outside of the box a lot more, and it means that we feel a lot more, I guess, liberated to do so. Yeah, I suppose it's allowed us to take a step back and see the bigger picture. Yeah. And by seeing the bigger picture, we've come in and looked at the land that we've got, and we thought, how can we build a business here? What does it offer us, and how can we work with the land to build a resilient business too for the future? And by basically copying an awful lot of natural processes, we've started to build a business that works in symbiosis, and the business benefits from the land and vice versa. Since we've bought the croft, we've planted just under 30,000 trees. So that's been a long-term investment for us, and I mean long-term investment by the creation of new areas of sheltered grazing and improved fodder availability and diversity for our animals. But what it also gave us was an important financial boost right at the start. So we looked at our hill ground, and we saw bare hill ground, and we thought it's, grazing capacity wise, it's low. Forage quality, it's low. If we were to turn that to woodland, we're creating a sort of an amazing sheltered hill grazing area for the future. But if we can do the work ourselves, then the grant funding that we can access to put it in, we can keep. So we did the ground preparation, we did the planning, we did the application, we did the planting, and we do the maintenance as well. So all of that meant that money could come in, and then we could reinvest it, and that was a really important kickstart for us to get going on the croft. So we're going to live here our entire lives, so we're going to need to sustain ourselves here our entire lives. So we need to be planning for 20 years time, 30 years time, 40 years time. So whilst we might lose a small amount of ground to grazing in the short term, what we're gaining is so much more. What we're gaining is, that kind of resilience that we need in our farm business to provide for animals in the long term in a really sort of unpredictable climate.